Hi, welcome back. I'm continuing my series of videos on gains without pains, which basically is how to get better technique at those gym-based exercises and help reduce your risk of injury. If you've watched any of the other videos in this series, you'll know, when I talk about my work as a sports therapist, it's not only about giving a good massage and treating, a possible injury, but it's actually also about educating your clients, as to what is causing their injury and how you can basically reduce the risk of having an injury again. And we do this by talking about correct posture, correct technique when doing these exercises, which, will basically enable that client to go away to, still reach their fitness goals, but to do it safely. So as I say, this particular Gains Without Pain series of videos that I'm doing looks at common exercises done in the gym and explains what the common mistakes are that people make when doing these exercises and how you can actually improve your technique and therefore reduce the risk of injury. So today I will be talking about the bench press. Now, benefits of the bench press: it targets the chest muscles with maximum load, increasing strength and also upper body mass. But there are a lot of mistakes that people make when doing this exercise. Now, as with the other videos, I just want to emphasize I am not a personal trainer. The information I am giving you in this video is based on my knowledge of anatomy and physiology and my knowledge as a sports therapist of, how the muscles work with each other in particular exercises. So if you are starting up an exercise program or you're going back to the gym maybe after some time out from an injury, do consult with a personal trainer who will also, give you some advice about, good technique. So common mistakes that people make when doing the bench press. The first one is excessive sort of flaring of the elbows. This can actually make the bench press quite inefficient and also increase the risk of injury. And this is because if you flare the elbows out, you actually place extra stress on the shoulders, which basically results from poor scapula, which is your shoulder blade, scapular traction. So, keep the elbows in a little bit. Relaxed wrists. Obviously, if your wrists are relaxed, that's going to reduce your, sort of pressing strength, and also lead to wrist pain. So nice and easy one, that. Another mistake is that the bar will hit the chest too high. Now this could be due to flared elbows. And this makes stacking the joints difficult, and the pec major muscle will not be sort of as engaged as it should be. So again, the bench press, it's not going to be an efficient, way of doing it. Incorrect grip width on the bar. Now, obviously, this will vary according to each individual, according to their shoulder width, their chest width. But if the width is too narrow, this will actually place excessive stress on the outer part of the wrists. But if the width is too wide, it can actually not only reduce, your power in the lift, but also you need to remember, if you are a competitive lifter here, The grip could be slightly different anyway, because different competitions have sort of slightly different rules, regarding the grip. So, okay, protraction of the shoulder blade. So pulling the shoulder blades back is actually quite important during a bench press. This protects the shoulders while you're actually moving the weight, and it also ensures synonymous reps. If you internally rotate the shoulders at the top of the press, then you're probably protracting the scapula. So that's a good sort of guideline. So just don't internally rotate the shoulders. Now, actually, also your feet are quite important. You want to make sure that, basically if your feet are relaxed, you may get some stalling during reps. And this is because the feet are actually helping you to create a strong, solid base for bench pressing. If they move or lift off the ground, that's where you're going to get the stalling during your reps. So you want a good sort of solid base to sort of push against while you're, lifting. The glutes, the sort of bum cheeks and the hips, quite often people will allow their hips to sort of raise off the bench. What this suggests is that there's a need for more power. So most likely, if you're lifting your bum and your hips off the bench, then the weight that you're trying to lift is too heavy. And what this does is it basically forces the lumbar spine, which is that curve in your lower back, into excessive loaded extension, which will increase your risk of injury. And actually also it's probably also going to contradict, the whole goal of strengthening the upper body. So keep your bum and hips down, or reduce the weight. Another thing regarding the bar on the chest, if a lot of people, quite often will bounce the bar off the chest. And what this does is it can actually cause a sort of a bruised feeling on the chest bone, because you're lowering the bar too quickly. And what you should be doing is absorbing the force through the muscle. So basically by, if you are sort of bouncing the bar off the chest, what this can do is it can actually cause loss of upper back tightness, which again is going to reduce your power in the bench press. So these are the common mistakes that basically make your bench press ineffective. So if you want to improve your technique, what should you do? Well, starts with your elbows at a 45-degree tuck, and then adjust it according to your comfort level. Try to sit the barbell in the meaty part of the hand here, so that it sits over the elbow joint at the bottom of the movement when you're bringing that bar down. Aim the bar towards the bottom of the pecs or sternum, so sort of down here, to allow the elbows to align correctly, and therefore, avoiding excess stress on the elbows and also the wrists and the shoulders. When you're starting the press, start with a grip width where the wrist is directly over the elbow. At the bottom of the press, usually then slightly wider than the shoulders. And this is usually a good, safe sort of position to avoid, excess sort of stress on, on the joints. Always try to keep the scapula or the shoulder blade retracted throughout. And this will help avoid the shoulders coming off the bench and ensure effective movement of the weight. So you want to keep those shoulders down. Foot position. Obviously, it is to a certain extent down to personal preference. And as I said, competitive lifting, sometimes the rules regarding grip, etc., can vary a little bit. But generally, keep the foot stable on the ground, pushing into the ground, during competitions, the heel may or may not be able to, lift off the ground. So, a mildly arched back is okay when bench pressing, as long as those hips don't come off the bench, and as long as the shoulders, are kept back and down. If the hips do come off the bench, then you really need to be looking at your foot position and also your upper body position, and just make sure that they're correct. Because usually if they are, then the hips will stay down. Obviously, as we said, everyone has their own lifting style, their, different intensity of working out. As a starting point, try to lower the bar for about 3 seconds, just so you can get some control in the technique. And then once you're, confident at this, then you can, increase, the time. But yeah, so that is basically how to improve your technique and avoid the common mistakes, which can lead to injury when doing a bench press. So as always, feel free to comment, or you can message me through my Facebook or Instagram, and do keep an eye out for the other Gains Without Pains videos. We've got a couple up already. I will also be doing some on the Romanian deadlift and also a clean and jerk. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the bench press. So until next time, take care and work out safely, and I will see you next time. Bye.